Hey there, fellow deep divers. Ready to jump into Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life?
Yeah.
An antidote to chaos.
Not as intense.
Yeah, it is, but I know what you might be thinking.
Another self-help book.
Right, but trust me, this one's different.
Oh, how so?
It's more like a philosophy crash course.
Okay.
Psychology, ancient wisdom,
All in one.
all rolled into one.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack.
It is.
Yeah.
So for those who haven't encountered him before, who is this Jordan Peterson?
Well, he's a clinical psychologist,
Right.
years of experience working with patients, but he's also a renowned professor.
I see.
Huge following.
Yeah, I've seen his lectures online.
Exactly.
They're very popular.
Yeah. Known for his sharp intellect, willingness to tackle controversial topics, and his ability to connect ancient myths and stories to modern day challenges.
So it's like he's found this hidden code,
That's a great way to put it.
this ancient wisdom that's still relevant to our lives today.
Definitely.
So of his 12 rules for life, which one really grabs you?
Well, one that really resonates with me and might surprise some listeners is stand up straight with your shoulders back.
Okay, I'll admit, when I first read that, I thought, wait, my posture is a life rule.
Right.
Sounds like something my grandmother would say.
It seems almost too simple, right? But Peterson argues that posture isn't just about physical appearance. It's deeply connected to our psychology.
Okay.
How we interact with the world.
I see.
Think about it.
Okay.
In the animal kingdom, standing tall is often a display of dominance, of confidence.
Because slouching around is like sending a signal that you're feeling defeated,
Exactly.
which could actually make you more vulnerable.
Exactly. And it's not just about how others perceive us. Our own neurochemistry is affected by our posture.
Okay.
Standing tall can actually boost testosterone and decrease cortisol.
Wow.
Leading to feelings of confidence and reduced anxiety.
So there's a real physiological basis for this seemingly simple rule. It's not just about looking good.
It's about literally changing your brain chemistry.
Wow.
It's like sending a message to your nervous system. Hey, I'm ready to face whatever comes my way.
Okay, that one makes sense. But what about this rule? #2. Treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping.
Okay.
How does that play out in real life?
Well, Peterson's point is that a lot of us are incredibly hard on ourselves.
Yeah, I could see that.
We're quick to criticize our flaws, dwell on our mistakes, and hold ourselves to impossible standards.
Yeah.
But imagine if you treated a loved one that way, constantly berating them for their shortcomings.
You probably destroy that relationship pretty quickly.
Exactly. Yet we do it to ourselves all the time. This rule is about cultivating self-compassion, recognizing that we deserve the same kindness and care that we would offer to someone we love.
So instead of focusing on what we're doing wrong, we should ask ourselves, what would I do to support someone I care about who is going through this?
Precisely. It's about shifting from a mindset of self-criticism to one of self-support.
Like that.
It doesn't mean ignoring your flaws or making excuses,
Sure.
but it does mean treating yourself with understanding and patience.
That's a powerful shift in perspective. It's like being your own best friend instead of your own worst critic. Okay, moving on to rule #3. Make friends with people who want the best for you. This one seems pretty straightforward, but why does Peterson consider it a fundamental rule for life?
Because the people we surround ourselves with have a profound impact on our lives.
I could see that.
They shape our beliefs, our values, our habits, even our sense of self.
Okay.
If you're constantly around people who are negative, critical, or draining, it's going to wear you down over time.
It's like that saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Exactly. But on the flip side, if you surround yourself with people who are supportive, encouraging, and who genuinely want the best for you,
Yeah.
it can be incredibly uplifting.
But how do you know if someone truly wants the best for you?
That's a good question.
I mean, some people are really good at putting on a friendly face,
Right.
but their actions tell a different story.
That's true. It's not always easy to discern,
Yeah.
especially if you're used to unhealthy relationships.
I see.
But some telltale signs are, do they celebrate your successes? Do they offer support when you're struggling?
Okay.
Do they challenge you to grow in positive ways?
And on the flip side, do they get jealous or competitive when good things happen to you?
Exactly.
Do they put you down or try to hold you back?
Exactly. Pay attention to how you feel around certain people.
I see.
Do they energize you or drain you? Do they make you feel good about yourself or bad about yourself?
It's like being mindful of your social diet. You wouldn't eat junk food all the time and expect to feel healthy, so why would you surround yourself with negative people and expect to thrive?
That's a great analogy. It's about being intentional about who you allow into your inner circle.
Okay, so we've covered posture, self-compassion, and choosing your friends wisely. What's next on Peterson's list of life-changing rules?
This one is particularly relevant in today's age of social media. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It is.
It's so easy to get caught up in the comparison trap.
Yeah.
Especially when you're constantly bombarded with images of other people's seemingly perfect lives.
It's a recipe for unhappiness, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Because no matter how successful you are, there will always be someone out there who seems to be doing better, who has more, who looks better in a swimsuit.
It's like trying to win a game where the goalposts keep moving further away.
Exactly. But Peterson argues that true fulfillment comes from focusing on your own progress, your own growth, your own unique journey.
So instead of comparing yourself to other people's highlight reels, you should be focusing on your own personal growth and celebrating your own wins, no matter how small they might seem.
That's the idea. It's about shifting your focus from external validation to internal satisfaction. Are you learning, growing, becoming a better version of yourself?
Okay.
That's the measure that truly matters.
It's like running your own race instead of constantly looking over your shoulder to see how everyone else is doing.
Exactly. And this ties back to that idea of responsibility we talked about earlier. You can't control other people's lives.
Right.
You can only control your own choices and actions.
This makes me think about how I spend my time online. Maybe instead of scrolling through endless social media feeds, I should be focusing on activities that contribute to my own growth and well-being. Like learning a new skill, creating something, or simply spending time in nature.
That's a great insight. It's about being mindful of how you're using your time and energy. Are you feeding your mind with things that inspire and uplift you, or are you constantly bombarding yourself with messages that make you feel inadequate?
Okay, I'm definitely going to be more aware of that. Now, for our last rule of the day,
Okay.
Peterson throws a curveball. Do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them.
Interesting.
This one often raises eyebrows,
It does.
but it's really about setting clear boundaries
Okay.
and teaching children responsibility.
I see.
Peterson argues that if you constantly give in to a child's every whim, you're doing them a disservice in the long run, because they'll never learn to function properly in society.
Exactly. They need to learn that their actions have consequences, that there are limits to what's acceptable behavior.
So it's not about being a tyrannical parent or crushing a child's spirit. It's about preparing them for the real world where they can't always get their way.
Precisely. It's about guiding them towards becoming responsible, respectful, and capable human beings.
It's like that saying, discipline is helping a child to become who they are truly meant to be, not who they think they want to be in the moment.
I love that. It perfectly captures the essence of this rule. It's about seeing the bigger picture, the long-term well-being of the child, even if it means making tough choices in the short term.
We've covered 5 of Peterson's rules so far, and I can already see how each one, while seemingly simple on the surface, actually points to a much deeper understanding of human nature and the challenges of living a meaningful life.
That's what makes this book so compelling. It challenges us to think critically about ourselves, our relationships, and our place in the world.
Well, we've just scratched the surface of Peterson's 12 rules. Stick with us.
Definitely.
Because in part 2, we're going to dive even deeper into these fascinating ideas, exploring the overarching themes that connect them all.
Welcome back to our deep dive into 12 Rules for Life.
Last time we unpacked 5 of Jordan Peterson's rules.
Yeah.
And I'm already seeing how these seemingly simple ideas connect to some pretty profound concepts.
It's like each rule is a piece of a puzzle.
Okay?
And as we explore more, we start to see the bigger picture
Yeah.
of what Peterson is trying to convey.
So let's keep putting the puzzle pieces together.
Sounds good.
What other rules stand out to you as we dig deeper into this antidote to chaos?
Well, one that really gets to the heart of Peterson's philosophy is rule #6. Set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world.
Okay, that one sounds a bit like, physician, heal thyself.
Right.
What's the deeper meaning behind that rule?
It's about recognizing that we often project our own unresolved issues and frustrations onto the world around us.
So instead of blaming external factors for our problems, the government, the economy, society, we should first focus on what we can control: our own thoughts, behaviors, and choices.
Exactly. Peterson argues that before we try to change the world,
All right.
we need to first take responsibility for our own lives.
I see.
It's about cleaning up your own mess before you start pointing fingers at others.
It's like wanting to write a great novel, but refusing to do the hard work of actually writing every day.
Yeah,
You can't create something beautiful and meaningful if your own foundation is shaky.
that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating self-awareness, identifying areas where you might be falling short, and taking concrete steps to improve.
So it's not about becoming perfect or never making mistakes.
Right.
It's about striving for excellence in your own life, starting with the things you can directly influence.
That's right. And often when we focus on improving ourselves, we naturally become a positive force in the world around us.
Yeah.
We inspire others by our example,
Nice.
and our efforts to create order in our own lives can have a ripple effect.
I like that it's not about preaching or imposing your views on others.
Yeah.
It's about quietly leading by example, demonstrating the power of personal responsibility.
Exactly. Now, another rule that ties into this idea of personal growth is
Okay.
rule #7. Pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient.
Okay, this one sounds a bit like follow your heart, not the easy path.
Right.
But I'm guessing there's more to it than that.
There is.
Good.
It's about aligning your actions with your values.
Okay.
Even when it's difficult, even when there are easier or more tempting options available.
So it's about resisting the allure of quick fixes and instant gratification in favor of pursuing something that truly resonates with your soul.
Yeah.
Even if it takes longer or requires more effort.
Exactly.
Okay.
Think about it. Have you ever made a decision based solely on what was easiest or most convenient in the moment,
Oh, yeah.
only to regret it later?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like that time I stayed in a job I hated because I was afraid to take a risk. It seemed expedient at the time,
Yeah.
but in the long run, it made me miserable.
That's a perfect example.
Yeah.
Peterson argues that true fulfillment comes from pursuing what is meaningful to you, not what society dictates or what seems like the path of least resistance.
It's like choosing to climb a mountain because you're drawn to the challenge and the view from the top, even though it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
Even though there might be easier ways to spend your time.
That's a great way to put it. It's about embracing the struggle,
Okay.
knowing that the journey itself is just as important as the destination.
This makes me think about all the people who chase money or fame,
Yeah.
thinking that those things will bring them happiness,
Right.
but often end up feeling empty and unfulfilled.
Right, because his pursuits are often driven by expediency, by a desire for external validation.
Okay.
But true meaning comes from within, from pursuing what aligns with your values, your passions, your sense of purpose.
Okay, so rule #7 is about aligning your actions with your values, even when it's tough.
Yeah.
What other rules help us navigate the complexities of life and find that sense of meaning?
Well, rule #8 might seem surprising at first. Tell the truth, or at least don't lie.
Wait, honesty is a pathway to meaning. How does that work?
Think about it.
Okay.
When you lie, even small, seemingly harmless lies, it creates a sense of dissonance within yourself.
I see.
You're not being authentic. You're not living in integrity.
So like wearing a mask all the time.
Yeah,
Eventually you forget who you really are to meet.
exactly.
Yeah.
But when you commit to honesty, even when it's difficult.
You cultivate a sense of inner peace and wholeness.
Okay.
You're aligned with your true self, and that alignment can be incredibly liberating.
It's like clearing out the clutter in your mind,
Yeah,
creating space for clarity and authenticity.
that's a great way to put it. And that clarity can help you see more clearly
Okay.
what truly matters to you, what gives your life meaning.
So telling the truth is not just about being morally righteous.
Right.
It's about creating the conditions for a more meaningful and fulfilling life.
Precisely.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that honesty is not just a rule, it's a foundational principle for living in alignment with your values.
Okay, so we've got setting our own house in order,
Yeah.
pursuing what is meaningful, and embracing honesty.
Okay.
What other gems of wisdom does Peterson offer in his 12 rules?
Well, this next one might sound a bit paradoxical. Assume that the person you are listening to might know something you don't.
That's interesting.
It is.
It sounds like a call for humility and open-mindedness.
But why is that so important for finding meaning in life?
Because when we close ourselves off to new ideas, new perspectives, new ways of seeing the world, we limit our own growth and understanding.
It's like staying in your own little bubble, convinced that you already know everything. You miss out on the richness and complexity of the world outside your comfort zone.
Exactly. Peterson argues that true learning and growth come from engaging with people who are different from us, who have different experiences, different knowledge, different beliefs.
It's like that saying, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's about seeking out intellectual and emotional challenges, being willing to be wrong, to have your assumptions questioned.
So it's not about blindly accepting everything everyone says.
No.
It's about approaching conversations with curiosity and a willingness to learn.
Yeah.
Even if it means confronting your own biases.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that everyone has something valuable to offer, even if we don't agree with them on everything. There's always something we can learn, something we can gain from engaging with different perspectives.
It's like being an explorer. Venturing into uncharted territory and discovering new landscapes, new cultures, new ways of being.
That's a beautiful image. And it highlights the importance of staying open-minded and curious throughout our lives.
Yeah.
The more we learn, the more we realize how much we don't know.
So embracing the unknown, being willing to be a beginner, that's all part of living a meaningful life.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's about acknowledging that we don't have all the answers, that there's always more to learn, more to explore.
Okay, I'm starting to see a pattern here.
Oh.
These rules are not just about individual actions or behaviors. They're about cultivating a certain mindset, a way of approaching the world that is open, curious, and constantly evolving.
That's a great observation.
Yeah.
It's about developing a growth mindset.
Yeah.
A willingness to step outside our comfort zones and embrace the challenges and opportunities that life throws our way.
So it's not about seeking comfort or certainty,
Right.
but rather about embracing the messiness and uncertainty of life as a catalyst for growth.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that chaos is not something to be feared or avoided, but rather an essential ingredient in the recipe for a meaningful and fulfilling life.
Okay, so we've got setting our own house in order,
Yeah.
pursuing meaning, embracing honesty,
Right.
and being open to learning from others.
Okay.
What else does Peterson offer in his toolkit for navigating the chaos of life?
Well, this next rule is all about communication. Be precise in your speech.
Okay, that sounds pretty straightforward.
It does.
But why is precision in speech so important for living a meaningful life?
Because words have power.
I see.
They can build bridges, they can tear down walls, they can inspire, they can destroy. When we're careless with our words, we create confusion, misunderstanding, and even conflict.
It's like that game of telephone.
Yeah.
The message gets distorted as it passes from person to person. And by the end, it's completely different from the original.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when we strive for precision in our speech,
Okay.
we communicate more effectively, we build stronger relationships, and we create a more harmonious world.
So it's not just about using big words or sounding intelligent.
No.
It's about choosing the right words to convey your meaning clearly and authentically.
That's right. It's about being mindful of the impact our words have on others, taking the time to express ourselves thoughtfully and respectfully.
It makes me think about all the misunderstandings and conflicts that arise from poor communication.
Yeah.
If we could all just be a little more precise in our speech, maybe we could avoid a lot of unnecessary drama and heartache.
I think you're right. It's
Right.
about recognizing that communication is not just about conveying information. It's about building connection and understanding.
Okay, so we've got setting our house in order, pursuing meaning, embracing honesty, and being open to learning from others,
Right.
and speaking with precision. What other gems of wisdom does Peterson offer?
Well, this next one is particularly relevant for anyone who struggles with anxiety or worry. Do not bother children when they are skateboarding.
Wait, what? How does skateboarding connect to meaning in life? This one seems like a curveball.
It might seem like a strange one, but it's actually a profound metaphor.
Oh.
Peterson uses this rule to illustrate the importance of allowing young people, and really all people, to take risks, to explore their limits, to face their fears.
So it's not literally about skateboarding. It's about giving people the space to experiment,
Yeah,
to make mistakes, to learn and grow without constantly hovering over them.
exactly. Think about it.
Right.
When kids are skateboarding, they're pushing their boundaries, testing their skills, and sometimes they fall.
Right.
But those falls are part of the learning process.
I see.
They help them develop resilience,
Okay.
courage, and a sense of mastery
It's like that saying, we learn more from our failures than from our successes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when we try to shield people from all risk and discomfort, we're actually doing them a disservice.
Oh.
We're preventing them from developing the skills and resilience
I see.
they need to navigate the challenges of life.
So it's not about being reckless or encouraging dangerous behavior.
Right.
It's about recognizing that a certain amount of risk and challenge is essential for growth and development.
That's right.
Okay.
It's about finding that sweet spot between safety and freedom, between support and independence.
I'm starting to see how this applies to more than just kids and skateboarding.
Yeah.
It's relevant for anyone who's trying something new, stepping outside their comfort zone, or facing a challenge that feels daunting.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that discomfort and uncertainty are not always bad things. They can be catalysts for growth and transformation.
This reminds me of that quote by Theodore Roosevelt. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again because there's no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat.
That's a powerful quote,
Yeah.
and it perfectly captures the essence of what Peterson is talking about. It's about having the courage to step into the arena,
And?
to embrace the challenges of life, knowing that there will be setbacks and failures along the way.
So it's not about avoiding failure, but rather about reframing our relationship with failure, seeing it as a necessary part of the learning and growth process.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that failure is not the opposite of success.
Okay.
It's part of the journey towards success.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground in this episode.
Yeah, we have.
And I'm starting to see how these seemingly disparate rules are actually interconnected, forming a cohesive philosophy for living a more meaningful and fulfilling life.
It's like each rule is a thread, and when woven together, they create a tapestry of wisdom that can guide us through the complexities of life.
Well, we've explored 7 of Peterson's rules so far.
We have.
Stay with us.
Yes.
Because in part 3, we'll delve into the remaining 5 rules and uncover even more insights into this antidote to chaos. Welcome back to the deep dive. We're wrapping up our exploration of Jordan Peterson's 12 rules for life.
We've covered a lot of ground already, from standing up straight to being precise with our words.
And it's been fascinating to see how each rule connects to a bigger picture.
It's like Peterson is giving us a toolkit for navigating the chaos of life.
So, what other tools can we find in those last 5 rules?
Well, rule #10, one that always makes me smile. Pet a cat when you encounter one on the street.
I remember that one. Sounds a bit random, doesn't it?
It does, but it's a reminder to notice those small joys in life.
It's like even in the midst of chaos, there's still beauty to appreciate.
Exactly. Take a moment to pet a cat, savor a cup of coffee, enjoy the sunshine.
Those little things can really make a difference.
They can shift your perspective and bring a sense of peace.
So rule #10 is about being present, mindful, grateful.
Absolutely. Now, rule #11 might sound familiar. Do not bother children when they are skateboarding.
We talked about this one before, about letting kids take risks.
Right, but it's also about respecting their autonomy.
Giving them the space to learn and grow on their own terms.
Exactly. We can offer guidance, but ultimately, they need to find their own way.
So rule #11 is about trusting others to navigate their own journeys.
It is. Now, let's revisit rule #12. Be precise in your speech.
We talked about how words have power, how they can build or destroy.
It's about using that power responsibly.
Choosing our words carefully to foster understanding and connection.
Precisely. Clear communication can prevent so much misunderstanding and conflict.
It's definitely a skill worth cultivating.
It is. Now, for a rule that challenges us, rule #9, listen carefully to what people say, especially to things you don't want to hear.
Oh, that one's tough. Why should we listen to things we'd rather avoid?
Because those uncomfortable truths often hold the keys to growth.
It's like facing our fears and weaknesses can be painful, but it's necessary for real transformation.
Exactly. The things we resist hearing are often the very things we need to learn.
So rule #9 is about being open to feedback, even when it's hard to swallow.
It is. And finally, we come back to rule #8. tell the truth, or at least don't lie.
Honesty seems to be a recurring theme throughout Peterson's 12 rules.
It's a foundational principle for a meaningful life.
Living in integrity, being true to ourselves and others.
It creates a solid foundation for trust and genuine connection.
It's about aligning our actions with our values and building a life we can be proud of.
Well said. We've explored all 12 of Peterson's rules, and I'm struck by the depth and practicality of his wisdom.
Me too. It's amazing how these seemingly simple ideas can have such a profound impact on our lives.
It's a reminder that the journey to a meaningful life is ongoing, a constant process of learning and growth.
And we can always find new tools and insights to help us along the way.
If you enjoyed this deep dive into 12 rules for life, be sure to subscribe to Book Talks Wisdom for more insightful decodes.
And leave us a comment with your suggestions for books you'd like us to cover. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking wisdom in the pages you turn.